Okay, so here we are, Belisi and Lenny. We're going to talk about, give you some examples of how to parse, how to identify athematic verbs. Okay, we're just going to start with examples of two verbs. One is the verb didome. You can write that up there. Maybe you'll erase it over here on the right-hand side of the blackboard. Just write didome. Okay. Oops.
Sorry.
No problem.
Oh, I did it again.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay. Good time. Oops.
That's a D.
Okay, good. And there's an accent. And the other verb we're going to do is titheme. Okay. Didome is the verb to give. Okay. And titheme is a verb that originally means to establish something. Okay. To establish something, but and it's cognate with the Latin verb facio. It also means to make. Okay, it means we have lots of cognates of didome, like donate and dative is actually one because of the sentence with the dative is a sentence about giving. But there are examples of that in English. And titheme, the root this is an Indo-European root, and the English word doom comes from the same root because it's the limits on life, all right? It has to do with placing limits. So the Doomsday Book, for example, which was about land tenure, is an old use of the same root about establishing boundaries and stuff like that. So anyway, but it means all of these wonderful cosmic and religious things, but in Greek, in classical Greek, it means to put or place something. Okay, the older meaning is make. So we're not going to look at the principal parts yet. We know everything we need to know from the video we just did. Okay, about the three aspect stems and the distinctive features of these verbs. So if we look at the first one on our list here, we've got dido. So what do you do when you see an athematic verb like this? And you're going to know them when you see them because there are just three of them. Okay. The first thing you want to do is decide which aspect stem it is, okay? And nothing could be clearer, is it, if you remember the rule, right? You've got a reduplication there with an iota. So which aspect stem is it, Belisi? It's imperfective, okay? So the next thing you do is so that's what the di is. The do is the stem with a certain vowel in it, okay? And then the next thing is the ending. So there's no thematic vowel. So what is the ending S in verbs that you know?
Second person singular.
So there you are. You're done. This is the present second person singular. There's no augment, okay? That's a primary ending, right? That's also true for a second ending. So it's second person singular is the present indicative. You might want to erase that stuff there. Great. Okay. All right. Let's look at the next one. De doye-san, okay? We ask the same question every time. What kind of reduplication does it have, if any, okay? And it's the same. It's an imperfective aspect form. The next thing you notice is, so you got the di, and now you have da, okay? So there's the vowel alternation in the stem. We're not going to worry about it, okay? But the next thing you have is iota, eta, and the san ending. Well, we've seen this san ending before, but we mentioned it as one of the characteristics of the athematic verbs, right? Mm-hmm. So what person is that?
Third person plural.
Of a secondary ending. And what's the iota, eta? Optative, right, which always has secondary endings. So there's your third person plural of the present, so-called present optative, okay? It's the optative of the imperfective aspect, right? All right. Great. All right, let's look at the next one. We've got di, du, okay? So what have we got here? We've got that's an augment. We know that this is a past tense. We've got our reduplication with an iota, so we know it's imperfective aspect. So if it's past and imperfective, it's the imperfect, right? What kind of an ending has it got? Well, there's do, okay? This is just a variation on the vowel in the ending, right? There's no ending there, right?
Right.
So if it's a secondary tense, okay, which ending is a no ending in Greek verbs? It's nu, sigma, nothing, right? So this is third person singular, first person singular, nu, second person singular, sigma, third person singular, zip, okay? So it's third person singular of the imperfect Indicative. All these forms, by the way, are active. Okay, we'll look at the middle ones. They're easier than anything you've ever seen. Okay, here's one. All right. All right, we've got number 4. We've got de. Okay, so we know we're again in the imperfective aspect. We've got do, but there's something interesting going on here. There's a circumflex over that do. Okay, and then we've got ste. So the ste, we know what that is. That's a second person plural middle ending. So this is some kind of imperfective aspect stem. It's a second person plural middle. What's going on with that circumflex? We're not worried about the omega, but the circumflex is something to worry about because otherwise these verbs have a recessive accent. I'll tell you what that circumflex is. It's the mark of the subjunctive, okay? Because you've got a double thematic vowel. The omega there gives you the omega with the circumflex on it. So if you see an omega with a circumflex on it or an eta with a circumflex on it in the athematic verb, it's a subjunctive, okay? So that's what's distinctive about it. If it were didoste, it's not a real form, but if it were, it would be indicative if it had an accent on the third to last syllable. So again, we're not worried about the vowel, but we are worried about the accents, okay? So that's a form that doesn't have recessive accent. We need to explain why, and the reason why is that it's subjunctive, okay? All right, last one on our next last one here. We got 2 of them. This verb is tithese, okay? The root is theta eta, theta epsilon iota, can be all 3 of those things. When you reduplicate a stem that begins with a theta, right, remember the rule, you can't have 2 successive syllables that begin with an aspirated consonant. So the theta turns into a tau, which is the unaspirated form of the theta. So tithese is like didose, it's a form of the imperfective aspect stem, okay? What ending is that?
Third person singular.
Singular, right? Because it looks like a third person plural, right? You hesitated. But the the is the stem of the verb. That's not a thematic vowel. The se is the third person singular ending, right? So that's the third person singular of the present indicative, right? Indicative, not the subjunctive, okay?
Right.
Okay? Third person singular, present, active, indicative, okay? Right. All of these forms are active. All right, so now let's move to the last one. We've got another imperfective aspect stem. The stem here has become theta epsilon. We're not worried about that. We just ignore it, okay? And we have the suffix to. What is that suffix?
Imperative.
Yeah, we just learned that. That's the third person singular active imperative. So what have we got? Third person singular present active imperative, period, okay? So you see that with a couple of rules, okay, and some experience, we've already been able to identify a whole bunch of forms, okay? We're going to stop there, and then we're going to give you another set of them to play with, and then you're going to do this yourselves.